I came out here to check the basil that I transplanted last week. I had seen some slug damage at the ends here on the bok choy, so I left a few plants. And last night I came out, found 2 big old slugs, but they hadn't got to the basil yet. So I was just seeing, I've got a basil just eaten completely down. And we've got another big old slug over here. About to crawl up, I don't know. It's all perked up. About to head up and eat his bok choy, I guess. Checking the basil bed during the day. Slug got to another plant, so there must be another one. I was checking around the edges, and guess what we found? Slug. This is where I saw that little toad the other day when I was clearing out the weeds from back here. But I think that slug is probably way too big for that little toad to eat. I think he probably just eats little slugs, not really big slugs. I'm over here in the cucumber greenhouse. Hi, buddies. And I turned over a stick. It's another slug right here at the bed end where I've got radishes planted. There's usually 2 kind of dry underneath these sticks, but this one's wet enough maybe. Likes to live under there. Next succession of Salanova lettuce is popping up and needs to go out to the table outside to grow big and strong. Lettuce transplants on the table out here. My potatoes still sprouting in their little box. This is my potato patch that I need to work on this week. I just turned the water on going to the greenhouses for the first time in forever. There's my little deer friend over there in the sawdust pile. I think that's one of the babies from last year, do you think? Who knows? He's just got the itchy scratches. I imagine all his fur coming. Oh, he's got the little horns coming in. Yeah, he's got little horns coming in his head. Hey, buddy. He's not gonna turn over. He's not. Oh, there he goes. Hi. Hey, buddy. Drip is running. And no new damage from slugs this morning in the basil. Maybe we got all the big monsters. Every year I tell myself that I'm gonna get a slug fence put up around my greenhouse bed so that those slugs can't get up in there, but I never get it done. I've got 60 Haida, 120 German Butterball, 5 Magic Molly, 5 French Fingerling, and 20 Shepherdie for a total of 210 seed spuds. That's if I plant the whole potato and don't cut them into parts to make more seed. If I planted them every foot in my standard 40-foot beds, 30-inch wide, 1-foot pathways, I would need 5 beds in order to get all of those potatoes in. I've got this rosemary plant that I've had up through the winter under this light. It is hogging from the poor aloe plant. Rosemary plant in his new house. I'm gonna pull off this row cover from this patch of reseeded lofty salad mix, and also this patch of green onions that's sprouting. I'm gonna have to check my seed weight, see if I dropped enough seed down here, because you know, I've looked at this before, and as you can see, the germination or the seeding wasn't that great because there's some pretty big gaps in here. It's supposed to be 1/2-inch spacing, you know. and taking a look at green onion sets that I direct seeded, which are popping up. So that's cool. And you know, there's just been a few robins, a few juncos, a few little birds out here. I think they're gonna leave things alone. Oh yeah, and I forgot to point out as a difference, this is the lofty solid mix that is coming up underneath, you know, this insect netting, and seeded with the same spacing, same roller, you know, everything. And it went down fine, you know. It's not perfect, but there's a lot more leaf in there. So yeah, I don't quite know what's going on with the seeding over in the other bed. Check this out. Who are these fellows? Oh my gosh, there's like tons of them. I wonder if these are the root maggot flies. I've got a couple of days of dry weather, so I'm gonna try and make the best of it. And yeah, yesterday I was gonna get started on my potato patch over here, but then I had all these little tiny chores that just started taking up the whole day. Potatoes here are sufficiently sproutiness. So it's kind of hard to see with the afternoon shading of the trees, but I've got a pile of seaweed, which has really broken down quite a bit. Then a pile of leaves, and another seaweed pile, another pile of leaves, another seaweed pile, and another pile of leaves. And I'd hoped to kind of mix the leaves and the seaweed together. So something that I've been having to take into account as I've been making decisions about how to do things out here this season is that I have a monkeyed up thumb right down here at the base of my thumb. So in order to get through what I was doing, I took a glove and duct taped my thumb so that it wouldn't move. And then I was kind of able to use my hand. So when I was down in Oregon just a few weeks ago, I went to see a doctor, and they kind of suggested that it might be either like a damage to my tendon down here, or even a cyst down here. I didn't get an x-ray because they were saying that, you know, it's the same kind of management. You know, you need to rest the hand and ice it and stuff like that. I pitchforked the seaweed and kind of spread it out more evenly in the pile. And then I scooped the pile of leaves beside it on top. And I think that I'm just gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna have, let's see, that'd be 3 separate little potato patches. So this one's far enough over here, and I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So you might be thinking, here she goes, just shoveling away, messing up her thumb. But the original plan was to completely mix together all of the seaweed and leaves and then move it around and form 40-foot beds. So here I am just trying to minimize the amount of shoveling that I do. Okay, dudes, this is it. Seaweed covered with the leaves. And here's my first pile. So just one more to go. Hey, little one. That's definitely not a junco. It's got yellow, a little bit of yellow belly. A little tiny yellow at its back end. I'm having to dig this a little bit more than the others because there's a tarp that got pinned underneath it. So I'm actually moving all this material, all this seaweed over here towards this bed. And then I'll have to move these leaves. These two beds are close together and these guys are far apart. I kind of hope to get like a whole 40 feet in here and have the same material on it, so then I kind of know, you know, what all the beds were prepped with. This right out here, I'm not coming this far with anything because there's a big patch of sand here that needs to kind of get mixed in with any new soil I can get. So I dug out some walking pathways And that's how I filled in the gaps in between. The big gap in between those two patches. Because this area down here will eventually need more soil in order for me to use it, right? So I'm just gonna stop there, and it's about 25 feet. Plant in the center of the beds, plant in the pathways for 5 rows at 25 feet. What is that, 125? 225 plants, and I've got 210 potatoes. Something like that. The flies have been out attacking me. Oh my goodness. Look who just showed up. This must be a different mother, right? Because we saw a mama deer with one baby deer. Although it's possible that she had one that was sleeping. I don't know. Do I want to plant the potatoes at optimal spacing? Or do I want to get all of the potatoes planted that I have so I don't have to throw any of them out? I had to put my bug hat on because the bugs were bothering me. Okay. Okay, where's my other potato? There it is. Don't do this at home. This is not how you plant potatoes, right? Done with the center 3 rows. Let's count these guys. 1, 2. 38 times 3 is 114. And I've just got 5 potatoes left. I just dug a trench for the hydas since they're planted so close together. Hello. How many we got here? 1, 2, 3. 59. I probably have 60 there, right? It's supposed to be 60. And then over here, I'm just gonna dig individual holes for the shepherdie because they're gonna be about 1 foot apart. 1, 2, 20. And then I have 5 of the magic mollies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 5 of the French fingerlings. So there you go, folks. I'm gonna cover these suckers up and be done with it. Oakley dokley, focalies. Potatoes planted. They could have gone out probably April, definitely May, so they're late. I got the tarps pulled off the beds out here, and I spread them out all over this area where I've had grasses kind of growing. Yeah, so that's kind of a temporary little fix for that. The clover and other weeds out there seem to be sufficiently suppressed at this point, so that's cool. I'm done. Oh, we got a reprieve. One more dry day. It rained a little bit last night, and then it's supposed to rain for a couple of days. So today I'm gonna mostly be working over on the far beds, but right now I wanted to check these 3 beds of collard greens and kale and my little patch of lettuce back there and see what the progress is. The kale has some really big leaves and is ready to harvest. And the collard greens are beyond ready to harvest. And this lettuce might be ready by next week. So these 3 beds were in carrots last year, and now they have baby greens and beets. They didn't do very good. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest that back scraggly lofty solid mix, throw some garden waste compost on there, and then reseed it with the Jang. And then, like with the spinach, the baby chard, I think I'm gonna try and poke in some extra seeds by hand. After Jang seeding this back 20 feet of lofty salad mix, I moved over to this bed of baby chard and ended up ripping it out because the Jang had seeded it so poorly before. And, you know, I got one harvest off of it, so I just yanked everything out, threw down some of the compost because I had some left. I used the Jang to mark the rows. I did 5 rows of baby chard hand seeded. Okay, folks, I am done. Well, I do need to seed some trays of transplants, 2 flats of Salanova lettuce for the next succession that'll go out in the garden. I think I'm going to need to use a couple of seed varieties that I don't prefer because I didn't get enough seed of the right type. I need to do another flat of basil, which will be the next succession that'll go in the other bed in the greenhouse. And so I'll have something fresh a little bit later on. And last thing is I need to seed some bok choy, which will kind of replenish all of my bok choys at the bed ends, you know, if they get hit by a root maggot or whatever else. So yeah, but other than that, I am so done. I'll see you guys next week.
Hi, the babies. It's okay.